Hello everyone and welcome to your English class. In this video or in this class we will discuss about a new lesson, and the name of the lesson is Lost Spring. Okay, Lost Spring, Stories of Stolen Childhood. It is in your textbook and chapter 2. So here in this lesson you will have two stories of some children. Okay, that's why the name of the lesson and its subtitle, Stories of Stolen Childhood. So before starting the lesson, let's see about the author. So this author name is Anis Young, and she was born in Rourkela and spent her childhood and adolescence in Hyderabad. She received her education in Hyderabad and in the United States of America. Her parents were both writers. Anis Young began her career as a writer in India. She has been an editor and columnist for major newspapers in India and abroad and has authored several books. The following is an excerpt from her book titled Lost Spring, Stories of Stolen Childhood. Here she analyzes the grinding poverty and tradition which condemn these children to a life of exploitation. So here in this about the author part, you will get to know about her life history, and this lesson or this chapter is taken from her book, and that the name of the book is also Lost Spring, Stories of Stolen Childhood. Okay, and here the theme. So the theme of the lesson is your grinding poverty and traditions which condemn these children to a life of exploitation. Exploitation mane hoise kiba অত্যাচাৰ কৰা তেওঁলোকক, বা you can say in simple language child labor. Okay, they are being tortured, and so exploitation, yeah, in a simple language means torture. Okay, and so the first story is about Sometimes I Find a Rupee in the Garbage. So the name of the first story is Sometimes I Find a Rupee in the Garbage. Ketiaba moi poisa pao. Garbage means dustbin. Okay, so the first story is about one boy and some of his friends. Okay, ল'ৰা এজনৰ কথা কোৱা হৈছে, and সেই ল'ৰা এজনৰ নাম হৈছে Sahib. So we will get to know about Sahib and his friends. Okay, so basically the story tells about how Sahib came from Dhaka and how he settled in this city. Okay, so let's start. Why do you do this? I asked Sahib, whom I encounter every morning scrounging for coal in the garbage dumps of my neighborhood. Sahib left his home long ago, said amidst the green fields of Dhaka. His home is not even a distant memory. There were many storms that swept away their fields and homes. His mother tells him that's why they left, looking for gold in the big city where he now lives. So, who is speaking here? The narrator or the author. Okay, author is asking Sahib that why you do this. That means Sahib used to collect garbage. Okay, and when he collect garbage, যেতিয়া he ডাষ্টবিনত বস্তুবিলাক বিচাৰি থাকে, তেতিয়া কেতিয়াবা সি পইচাও বিচাৰি পায়, আৰু সেই পইচাটো তেওঁলোকৰ বাবে হৈছে সোণৰ মূল্য ধৰে. Okay, so this sometimes they get money or they get 1 or 2 rupee in the garbage and in the dustbin, and that 1 or 2 rupees for them is like gold. Okay, so that's why this author asked him that why you do this. So he always, every morning, he goes to the street and he used to collect some garbage, and while collecting it he gets some money. Okay, that means 1 rupee or 2 rupee, and he had came from Dhaka. Okay, so why they left Dhaka? Because there were many storms that swept away their fields and homes. Okay, so তেওঁলোকে ঢাকা কিয় এৰিব লগা হ'ল? কাৰণ বহুত ধুমুহাই তেওঁলোকৰ ঘৰ বাৰী নষ্ট কৰি দিছিলে. Okay, So they had came for the big city now. I have nothing else to do, he mutters, looking away. Go to school, I say glibly, realizing immediately how hollow the advice must sound. So he then replied that I have nothing to do. More akko aru kaam koribologia nai. So tetia othorjone kole je school joa. Okay, but it sounds very ghibli. Okay, that means it's like they can't even afford food, they can't even afford nice clothes. Okay, তেওঁলোকে এফৰ্ডে কৰিব নোৱাৰে ভাল কাপোৰ বা খোৱা বস্তু, so স্কুল যোৱাটো কেনেকৈ এফৰ্ড কৰিব, how they will afford to go to school, isn't it? So after telling that go to school, the author realized that no, মই এইটো কথা ক'ব নালাগিছিলে. Okay, so in the next page you will see that he replied, there is no school in my neighborhood. When they build one, I will go. If I start a school, will you come? I ask, half joking. Yes, he says, smiling broadly. A few days later, I see him running up to me. Is your school ready? It takes longer to build a school, I say, embarrassed at having made a promise that was not mean. But promises like mine abound in every corner of his bleak world. So, when the author asked him that you should go to school, then he said, চাহেবে ক'লে তেতিয়া যে মোৰ ওচৰত বা মই যোনটো জেগাত থাকোঁ সেই জেগাটোত স্কুল নাই. Okay, and then the author said that if I start a school, will you come? So মই যদি স্কুল ষ্টাৰ্ট কৰোঁ, will you come? Okay, then Sahib thought it to be true. Okay, Sahebe hosa boli bhabile aru he said that yes, I will definitely, I will come to your school. And after few days, when he again saw the writer or the narrator, then he said that is your school ready? So he thought that yes, the writer was joking it. Okay, but Sahib took it seriously, because in his small world, school for them or children like them, school is everything. Okay, so they even can't even afford to go to school, but they wanted to go, কিন্তু afford কৰিব নোৱাৰে, তেওঁলোকে যাব বিচাৰে কিন্তু due to poverty they can't afford. So that's why it's like a dream to them to go to school. So that's why he thought that the narrator was speaking it true. The narrator was talking in a positive way, but then the narrator was in an embarrass. তেওঁ মানে অলপ লাজ পালে যে মই কিয় এনেকুৱা এটা কথা চাহেবক ক'লোঁ, because they thought it to be true. After months of knowing him, I asked him his name, Sahib-e-Alam. So now we get to know that his full name is Sahib-e-Alam. He announced. He doesn't know what it means. If he knew its meaning, Lord of the Universe. So Sahib-e-Alam means Lord of the Universe. Kintu tar khetrot etu ulta hoise, because the name of the meaning and what he is doing is completely different. Okay, he would have a hard time believing it, unaware of what his name represents. He roams like streets with his friends, an army of barefoot boys who appear like the morning birds and disappear at noon. Over the months I have come to recognize each of them. So they are street boys. Okay, they used to roam here and there, but if he knows his name, then he will not believe it. Okay, tar naam to hoise Lord of the Universe, kintu tar kaam to ekebare ulta. So there are many boys of his age that they went on streets barefoot, তেওঁলোকে খালি ভৰিয়ে থাকে, because they can't afford the chappals also. Okay, they can't afford the footwear also. Why aren't you wearing chappals? I asked one. My mother did not bring them down from the shelf, he answered simply. Even if he did, he will throw them off. That's another who is wearing shoes that do not match. When I comment on it, he shuffles his feet and says nothing. I want shoes, says the third boy, who has never owned a pair all his life. Traveling across the country, I have seen children walking barefoot in cities or on village roads. It is not lack of money, but a tradition to stay barefoot is one explanation. So when she asked one of them that why you aren't wearing chappals, okay, and he replied that my more chappal jur shoe shelfৰ পৰা উলিয়াই নিদিলে then another one says that even if she did it he will throw them off and another boy was wearing a third boy was wearing shoes but of different okay এপাত জোতা বেলেগ আৰু এপাত জোতা বেলেগ পিন্ধি আছিলে আৰু হেতু কথা যেতিয়া অথৰজনে তাক ক'লে and he said nothing okay and there are many boys there are many children in the streets of cities in the streets of village that they don't wear barefoot okay so according to them it is not poverty but it is a tradition of stay barefoot is one explanation okay so they don't say that they don't have money তেওঁলোকে নকয় যে আমাৰ ওচৰত পইচা নাই বা we can't afford it okay they says that এটো আমাৰ ট্ৰেডিশন হয় barefoot থাকিবলৈ আমি হেকাৰণে খালি ভৰি আছো but the main thing is that due to poverty they can't afford chappals